Hi, I'm Ron Zakowski. So you want to start a business? I am currently the Associate Faculty at IUN School of Business and Economics. I'm also the Associate Faculty at Computer Information Systems. And in addition to that, I'm the CTO and CISO for Lake County Government, which is Chief Technology Officer, Chief Information Security Officer. In addition to that, my experience includes I was an executive at a VC venture capital funded startup. So I look forward to teaching a few things about how to get your business started. Thank you. How to write a business plan? Well, the most important part of your business plan is the executive summary. Now let's get your business plan read. As you may or may not know, there's a lot of either the bank or the venture capital company or your angel investors are only going to read so much. You can think of it like crafting your resume, okay? If you don't, nobody's going to typically read the second page. So you want to do a 1 or 2 page summary, okay? Now there's 2 points that you have to cover. It depends on if you're a startup or an established business, because obviously any business needs capital at any given point in time, because you might, if you're an established business, you might experience some serious growth and don't have enough money to buy the equipment to make more product. Okay, that's a nice thing to have. If you remember from the late 90s, there were a lot of startups that started before they started online shopping. All of a sudden they started getting orders in. They're like, well, we don't know how many orders we're going to get. Next thing you know, they couldn't fulfill product. So there were a lot of disappointments back in 1998. So you don't want to be one of those type of companies. You're always going to have to figure out a way to get capital. So what I'm going to do is, now there's some tips. I'm going to start with just some tips. Why, how, and what? You're going to ask me, what does that mean? Well, you start with the why. Why does this business exist? Then the how. This is how your business fulfills that core belief. And then what? How do you fulfill it? How do you make sure that people get the product that they desire or service? The other thing you want to understand, most importantly about a consumer or a business, is people don't buy what you do, but buy why you do it, right? Think of yourself. There's plenty of cars to choose from, correct? So what makes you buy the vehicle that you want to buy? If you're a sports enthusiast, what does Porsche just make sports cars? They just make a sport utility because they're known. They have a brand reputation. You want to establish your brand, okay? You might want to think about one thing, heart first and then the mind. You have to be a differentiator. So you look at Apple, okay? They're considered a challenger, disruptor, and innovator. Now, if Apple started with a what statement, okay? We make great phones and computers. They're usually friendly, beautifully designed, and easy to use. Want to buy one? Well, you're thinking to yourself, like I'm thinking, like, great, there's a lot of beautiful computers out there. Some are good, some are bad, but it all depends how I feel about them. But I mean, you haven't really said anything different. I have to take a look at it. Your neighbor down the street, maybe the kid's part of the Geek Squad, he says, I'll build one for you just as good as the Apple product. You're thinking like, I don't know about that. Now, Apple starts with a why statement. Now think of this, and you can see it on the slide. With everything we do, we aim to challenge the status quo. We aim to think differently. Our products are user-friendly, beautifully designed, easy to use. We just happen to make great phones and computers. Want to buy one? So what are you thinking? Which of those statements make you want to buy it? It's just why you do things. You have to, even in your job and in your company, why are you doing this? Make people understand the why, make people believe in it, okay? You want to tailor your summary to match your goal. So obviously, you don't have any money to get started, but you have this fantastic idea. Think of the guy that did the Scrub Daddy, right? There was a scrubbing pad. You're thinking to yourself, well, we just sell scrubbing pads. Well, what did he do? He created a smiley face out of it. He created a smiley face, and everybody bought the thing. And, he was on Shark Tank, obviously. If you ever watch Shark Tank, you might want to do that, just to get a feel for, investors. Because they are pretty critical, you've seen that. But that was the most successful product. It was real simple, easy to use, and guess what? People bought it. They still buy it, because it works. It was just a simple thing. And you'll find out the most simplest products out there are the ones that make you the most money. So if you're going to talk, so you want to match your goal. You want to either get a loan, if you talk to a bank, you know what it is. If they're loaning you money, even the SBA, you can get up to $5 million from the SBA. You can get up to 90% of it. But they want to see what your collateral is, and I'll talk about that later. And there's going to be further discussion in depth on these different topics, but this is just your summary. Or you want to get investors. You got to entice them. I mean, why would you want to give somebody money? I mean, look at all the GoFundMe. projects that are set up online, right? It's just because it's for a cause. People will donate for a cause, something they believe in, right? So what you want is you want to keep polishing your summary. Read it aloud. Make sure it flows. It's not choppy. Read it to someone else, and I'm going to give you a little hint there. That's what the IEN's Small Business Academy is for, to help you. Because you don't want to go to your friend, because your friend may or may not, they don't want to, upset you, your feelings, because they're your friend. Sometimes they won't want to be frank and honest with you. That's not going to make any money. And we all know that. We've all done that before. So let's go on. A startup. Again, if you're a startup established business. Startups. The main goal is you're going to convince the bank with debt financing, and basically that debt financing means you're going to take out a loan. And angel investors are venture capitalists. Angel investors are those people that have a lot of money or made a lot of money and want to invest in different things. It could be your uncle, it could be your dad, it could be your family. Those are your angel investors. Or venture capitalists, which require a lot more information, but depending on what type of business you have, what type of capital requirements you have, meaning how much money you need, to invest in your plan by providing startup capital. Now, obviously, with venture capitalists and angel investors, they're going to you're going to ask for equity financing, which is all that really means is, if you don't even understand what it is, you're going to give a percentage of your company. What you want to be careful of is that you don't dilute your company. If you ever watch Shark Tank, if they want 10% and X amount of dollars, they say, well, that's too much money for that. Because as you have your first round investors, sometimes second round investors, you lose ownership of your company, and sooner or later, the dream that you had has finally been diluted away, as they say. Now, the sections that you want to put into the executive summary are the full legal name of the business opportunity, the why. Why do you do what you do? I mean, you should be able to answer that question. And that might take you some time. Some of the quotes that I used from before from Simon Sinek, he has a whole book about the why. And the most successful companies that are out there have a good why they do things. Apple really just was specialized before in the computer space for artists. They weren't just your Windows was the mainstream computers. Okay, first was IBM, obviously. So you get into that space, you're like, okay, well, why did Apple beat out BlackBerry? BlackBerry used to be the most well-known cellular device out there. People all want Apples now. Why? It's because of the why, how they do it. They're always waiting for that design. They build desire. They want you to, it's just something, everybody's like, oh, that's really cool. So you want to create a product that does that. Or a service, right? The how will your business serve the market? What's your target market? What are you going after? What's your business model? What's your business model? What's the type of organization? Are you going to be manufacturing, wholesale, retail, or even online? There's a lot of online businesses now that started out, or a product, or / service. What's your marketing and sales strategy? All these portions you're going to develop first before you even do this executive summary. The competition. Who are your competitors? Are there any? You got to make sure you do your homework on this stuff, because there may be a competitor you're not even aware of. You want to do, and obviously a financial analysis, projections. You're probably thinking like, Ron, I'm already overwhelmed right now. What am I going to do? Well, that's what you have here. People here for that will help you out and create those things for you, help you how to plan it. Okay. There's more in depth. Okay. The owners and staff. Who are the owners? What are some of the staff? What kind of experiences do they have? You're going to develop an implementation. How are you going to get this business off the ground? You can do some customer satisfaction surveys. You can develop them yourself. There's SurveyMonkey that allows you to ask at least 10 questions. Growth and exit strategy. How big do you want to get before you get out? A lot of companies will start up and then they get huge and then you can't fulfill orders, and then it becomes very overwhelming, because as you may or may not know, why this is important even with your growth and exit strategy, there's a lot of companies out there that grow really fast and they fall really hard, because the problem is they don't know when to get out, because there's people with different levels of experience. You'll have to hire executives that know how to manage a small company. Then when you go to a medium-sized company, you're a large company. When you're a larger company, there's a lot of process that goes on. You ever try to, the old adage is how do you turn a battleship around in 10 minutes? It's kind of big. You can't move it or an aircraft carrier. It takes a while to do that. So if you have a smaller, nimble company, you can move on a dime. And of course, being that you're asking for money, how much money are you asking for and what's it going to be used for? But you got to entice them. In this section, you just got to build something that entices me, and that's why the why is the most important. It's not what you do. You know, look at all the different in the cosmetic industry, all the different facial creams, the dark circles, different skincare cosmetics. There's always new brands, new names, and it's ironic how people spend all kinds of money. Well, that's where the need's at. You have an aging population. Guess what? They want more products to make themselves feel younger. So that might be some ideas for you. Now, if you're an established business, what you want to include is typically information about your achievements, growth plans, etc. So your mission statement, and if you've ever worked for a company before, they try to develop a mission statement. They may spend months doing this, putting committees together. It's basically the why you do what you do. A lot of companies aren't really good about saying about what they do clearly. You want your company information, you want your business highlights, your financial summary, your future goals. Again, how much money are you asking for? What's it going to be used for? So there's other things that you need to cover too, just that we just went over. You may have to, depending on who you're going to address, if you're going after venture capital companies, which I have experience with, you got to show some evidence of early success. They're not going to expect you to, have a whole sales pipeline, but maybe you have some pre-orders. You got some customer service. Hey, this makes a lot of sense. This is the proof of your business model. What the business model means is what you're making or what you're doing, what service you're providing. A product or service, and your market reach is well founded. So you got to find some proof, to it. Now, if you're going to, again, if you're presenting to a bank, I'm going to tell you something right now. They're going to want to know, you can't go to them with a business that they know nothing about, because they're going to look at, if there's a similar type business they compare it to, they know how much revenue that you should having come in, okay? So you're going to have to prove, you're going to have a whole lot, heck of a time getting any money from the SBA if you don't have a business model that isn't the same out there. But like Google, if you remember correctly with Google, they were a search company. They weren't making any money. They were a search engine. So what they do, they modeled themselves after the newspaper industry on the advertising model. Hey, guess what happened over time? There's not as many newspapers, and it's all digital now. So all they did, so then that's how Google was able to acquire more money and make more revenues, because there was an existing revenue model out there. That's what you want to look for if you're looking for a moral loan type. And then, of course, they want some evidence of financial stability, especially with banks, obviously, with net worth, your assets, your financial history. Now, on the flip side, again, as I'll restate, the SBA will not lend you free money. So there's a lot of people out there that have enough, say they're looking for $2 million, and they have $2 million in the bank, the SBA is going to say, no way. You have the money, why don't you do it yourself? And why wouldn't you? People are looking for free money. They don't want to put any risk out there. They want to keep their money and be able to use somebody else's money. But guess what? The SBA is not going to give you a loan. You got the money already. I don't give it to somebody that doesn't have it. And they have they might have a better business model than you. Final tips. Think of this executive summary as a pitch. I mean, you always hear this stuff, and you're going through school, or you go, what's elevator pitch? What does that mean? Well, explain it to your grandma so she can understand it, right? And they always say that, and you're like, what does that mean? My grandma usually understands more than I do. Well, sometimes she doesn't. I mean, it's because you got to explain things simply. The more complicated you explain it, the more people are going to run away from it, because they don't know nothing about it. I could tell you from being in information security, I coach a lot of the people that are in the industry, all the tech people. I'm like, look, if you come to the CEO and with a problem, he's going to run the other way. And you want to know why? Because you don't speak to him in a language he understands. How much is this going to cost me? He knows if there's something wrong on the technology side, if you clicked on something, you got ransomware, he's going to cost some money. He wants to run away. He doesn't want to hear it. I mean, think about it yourself. Do you want to have to take money out of your pocket, take money out of your company's pocket? You have to be clear on what you're going to use it for, what the benefit is. Simple things you got to understand. What's the rate? Well, how much? What can I expect to get my money back? What's the rate of return? When's the payback period? Simple things. Write it. You're going to write this summary last. Keep it short and simple. Put the most important information first. Pictures, bar charts. Okay, show me some graphics. Give me an idea so I can develop a picture in my mind. And you get and investors typically, especially startups, they ask for a summary memo. You're going to develop that instead of a full business plan. So again, be passionate about what you do. Really like doing what you're doing. The only reason why you're going to build your business is because you want to do something different. You don't want to work for somebody else. You have a great idea and you want to take advantage of it. Make me believe it's the best thing out there. There's always a better mousetrap. You just got to convince me of it. Have any questions, feel free to contact me at rzochals@iu.edu. With any question you may have, I'd be willing to share my experiences. Thank you, and I wish you all the best and success in the world. Thank you.